What is up, guys? In today's video we'll discuss the latest firmware update for the DJI Avata 2, which brings some long-awaited features and improvements that hopefully you guys will appreciate. Let's get right into it. The first and probably most important part of this new firmware update is the fact that this Avata 2 now can be used with pretty much all the DJI devices that you see here and even more. So the Avata 2 now works with the DJI Remote Controller 2, it works with the Goggles 2, it works with the RC Motion 2, so the previous iterations from the previous Avata 1. These devices can now be used with the brand new Avata 2. So if you have those and you want to upgrade to the Avata 2, you don't have to get the whole set of products. You don't have to buy the new goggles, you don't have to buy the new remote controller, you don't even have to buy the new RC Motion Controller 3. You can just buy the drone itself and bind that to your Goggles 2, bind that to the RC Motion Controller 2 or the FPV Remote Controller 2 and just use it straight away. Even features such as Easy Acro, which have been introduced with the RC Motion Controller 3, will be now available to be used with the previous version of this controller, the RC Motion Controller 2. And that's all for the compatibility updates with the Avata 2. Unfortunately, the Goggles 3 are still not working with the O3 air units, so if you want to just forget about all the different goggles and just use the Goggles 3 with the Avata 2. And also, if you have custom FPV drones, unfortunately, you won't be able to do that. So for me, I'm a little bit disappointed when it comes to the lack of support for O3 on the Goggles 3. That means that if I go out to fly with the Avata 2 and I want to fly my custom FPV drones, I need to bring both of these goggles with me, which is a little bit inconvenient, and I am not really happy to see that from DJI, but at least for now, this is everything that I can report on for this situation. The next feature that we have in this firmware update for the Avata 2 is the fact that you can now select 4K 100 frames per second as a camera option inside the goggles, and you'll be able to record super slow-mo footage from the camera of the Avata 2. And this is something new that we haven't had before on the Avata 2. Previously, the biggest the highest frame rate that we had was 4K 60. Now we have 4K at 100 frames per second, which gives you even more frame rate, even more chances to slow down your footage and create even more epic shots with this drone. And something else, especially if you're shooting in DLOG-M, which by the way you should on the Avata 2 to retain the maximum information available from this camera and just color grade it later in post. You can use my LUTs to do that if you want. I'll link them down below. But if you're shooting in DLOG-M, one thing you will notice when flying with the Avata 2 is the fact that the flat image when shooting with DLOG-M inside the goggles is not really flat anymore. So when you enable DLOG-M inside the goggles, now you will see the colored version of the footage inside your goggles. The camera will still record in DLOG-M. You will still end up with flat color profile footage on your SD card, but inside the goggles to help you see better when you're flying, the image will not be flat, which is a great thing, because sometimes, especially with very flat color profiles such as DLOG-M, you end up not seeing something small because everything is just so flat, everything looks alike, and even a small branch could be a big difference sometimes, and especially in those situations when you're shooting in flat color profile. So now this enables you to see more when you fly and then still have that flexibility of flat image on the SD card. And the final feature that comes in this new Avata 2 firmware update is about the LightCut app that DJI supports. This is a app that is made to help you edit your footage on the fly. This is a mobile app you can download on Android and iOS devices and use it to quickly connect to the Avata 2. You can now connect to the drone wirelessly without having to use any cables. So you can use Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to connect to the Avata 2. You can straight away access all of your footage, and then you can use that footage that is being stored both on the inside of the drone and on the SD card. You can use that to edit your footage. You can use AI to automatically edit your footage, or you can use features such as Sky VFX, which is a really cool feature that I really like, which kind of puts an overlay on top of your footage, kind of like a video game. You have so many different templates that you can use on top of your footage as an overlay to make it look a little bit more interesting. You can add some video game elements or motion graphics that help you maybe make your footage a little bit more interesting, especially if you are editing on your phone. You can access those features within the LightCut app and just share them very quickly. And of course, finally, you have the one-tap edit, which uses AI, like I mentioned earlier, to select your video clips that you want to access and edit, and then AI will edit them automatically to kind of detect the scenes that are the most important, the most interesting, and combine that into a ready to be used and ready to be shared footage and file that you can export and save to your camera roll. So that's pretty much it for the firmware update for the Avata 2. I think it's a solid one. It brings compatibility to the Avata 2 with those different products from the previous Avata 1 lineup, such as the Goggles2, the Goggles Integra, the FPV Remote Controller 2, the RC Motion Controller 2. They can all be used with the Avata 2 now, which has been something that many people have been requesting. We have 4K 100 frames per second finally being added to the camera settings on the Avata 2. And we have Gamma Assist to easily see what is going on when we fly, especially if we shoot in DLOG-M color profile. Combine that with the LightCut application that brings some new features wirelessly to the Avata 2 between your phone and the drone, so you can easily access your footage and edit it on the fly. I think it's a great update. I am hoping that the Goggles 3 will at some point will get support for the O3 Air units, but until then, this is everything I have for you today. This is Mike from Drone Supremacy. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one very soon. Ciao.